up on my motion, I'll revise my motion. I will vote, make a motion to appoint on the Athletic Advisory Commission, Joseph Murray and Gabe Taylor.
Just one at a time.
Oh, one at a time. Okay, Joseph Murray.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Ray, second by Mr. Williams, discussion. All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All opposed? 252, motion carries.
I'd like the record to note for reasons stated about I vote no.
Ready to head further?
Okay, next I'd like to appoint, make a motion to appoint on the Athletic Advisory Committee, Ms. Gail Taylor.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Ray, second by Mr. Williams, further discussion. All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All opposed? 4-1.
For reasons previously stated.
Okay, discussion on parks and recreation.
Last, I'd like to appoint on the Park and Recreation Committee, Ms. Catherine K. Rankin.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Ray, second by Mr. Williams, further discussion.
Yes,
Yes.
at the last council meeting, you said we wouldn't be getting any more applications to committees. It was over.
You know this one was in the package.
We've had it from August.
The reality is that this committee has open slots. Appoint them or not appoint them, I don't care.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't mind appointing this lady, I'm just
I don't
saying,
understand why it's an issue to appoint people if they're open slots.
because you said last month we weren't going to get any more applications.
And we're in the process of doing an ethics, overall ethics ordinance that's going to come up at the end of October. Why we keep wanting people to committees when we're going to redo the ethics?
I'm sorry, I have to take five.
Okay. Did we have a motion on the floor, and we have a second. Further discussion.
I have a concern about the member that's been put on the leave of absence bill on that committee.
Yes, ma'am. I was just writing out my.
Did you see my email earlier?
I did, and I've reviewed it, and I have an
Can
answer
you
for you.
explain that to me?
Yes, the issue is a woman who has been absent from a committee, and your request for interpretation of general ordinance, item 6 under quorum requirements for committees. Item small I, and Mike's interpretation of it. I agree with Mike's interpretation. Only backup, I am unaware of the reason for Ms. Hoffman's absence. From Mike's email, I would understand that he is. I concur with his interpretation that the circumstances of each individual will be taken into account before a recommendation to remove is forwarded to council. Gives some discretion to the manager to make that decision. And I believe his interpretation of the ordinance is correct.
Okay, but you saw what my concerns were.
I did.
Would you read what my concerns are?
Yes, I asked Phil for legal interpretation of this portion of the ordinance. The leave of absence not spelled out in the ordinance would void the 75% express attendance requirement, allow the chairperson to potentially manipulate the membership, protect the quorum, and is not fair to others who wish to serve and would attend. And Michael's interpretation of that, that the fail-safe is that there are, as I understand it, individual circumstances that may have to be taken into account before a recommendation is made to council, and that he has considered the circumstances concerning this individual, which he is aware of, and I believe his interpretation is correct. Of the ordinance as it currently exists.
The ordinance is what?
As it currently exists.
Is there any reason why someone can't resign and reapply when they're able to serve?
Does this have something to do with promotion on the board?
I was gonna say, we got a motion on the floor, why
That's
don't
just my
you?
question, is this affects the quorum and appointments? I mean, to me, it affects the quorum and appointments, future appointments.
It was a question Ms. Strickland asked me to answer
Okay.
before the meeting, and I just reviewed it.
If somebody's on leave of absence for 2 years, you know they're not gonna be there. That doesn't seem quite fair to me. If there are other people that are wanting to serve and are willing to attend, why would, I just don't understand.
Well, all I'm commenting on is Michael's interpretation of the section of the ordinance that you have 25% requirement, you can't miss more than 25% of meetings. However, individual circumstances can be taken into account. I'm not aware of this person's individual circumstances, nor would I gather it be appropriate to discuss. But Michael's aware of them, and it gives him the authority to review them, and if in his opinion they merit consideration, and it allows him to do that. And that's the way the ordinance was drafted. So he's correct in interpreting it.
So maybe we need to change the ordinance?
It could be changed, but it would, yes, could be.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The motion was, Catherine Rankin's Parks Committee. Further discussion?
No, and I have no problem voting for this record. I just want to make that clear. I'm just going by what I was told last month, and so I just had to make that statement.
All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay, business from the manager, copy of purchase list.
The current lease on the copier is pretty much up. We have a 1-month extension so that we could discuss it with council. The cost came in for the lease, purchase versus a purchase. And as you can see, the purchase price is less than the lease price. By purchasing the copier, we then, of course, own it at the end of what would have been a lease period. We would have to return it, but we own it, and we can then either sell it or keep it as a spare copier. We're told that it has a resale value of 20 to 25% of the original purchase price. There is a market for used copiers. We are getting governmental pricing, and that's why the purchase price is less than the lease price. If you lease a copier, you then have to, with the company that we're looking at, that has the best pricing. If we lease it, we then have to ship it back at the end of the lease term if we were to switch vendors. So in terms of purchasing it, we wouldn't have to deal with that. We wouldn't have to look at the shipping of copier back if you're doing a cost comparison between vendors and analyzing that. And not to mention, we're going to have a residual value at the end of the lease, so we can either sell it, get some more money back, or keep a spare copier, which with the volume that we have going through town hall, we do have downtime with the copier, so it would not be a bad thing to have an extra one on hand at times. So it's staff's recommendation that we purchase versus lease a copier.
When you're leasing a copier, is a maintenance agreement provided with it, or
The
is that
main-
included in with the lease?
The maintenance contract is completely separate from lease/purchase. The maintenance contract is exactly the same whether you purchase or lease it. Some companies are different. The company that had the lowest quote, they're handled completely separately, which is a nice feature, so you always know what your maintenance is going to be on that copier. Versus some companies, they tie some of the maintenance in, but then there are overage charges and excess charges that are separate. So you really can't tell how much you're paying for the equipment versus how much you're paying for maintenance and copy charges. Some of the companies do split it out, and the one company